Diana, welcome to the show. Welcome to Product Growth Stories. I'm so excited to have you here, and we can talk about so much today. You've been at the forefront of like modern web development with Netlify and their amazing growth story. When I checked out Netlify, it was all about the Jam Stack, and I'm curious to hear what has your role been like at Netlify as the CTO?
Man, it's a wild ride living in that startup dream or fever dream. It feels like for a couple of years. I think all of us have been in it with just everything going on in the economy. It's been exciting. This company is now 10 years old. Series D went from Jamstack, which is a modern composable architecture, to what in the world are we doing now with AI? So that bet has played off though, because at the end of the day, we're continuing on our course. But the awesome thing is when you think about growth and human interaction and how technology continues to evolve, that lowers the gate and the barrier for a lot of people. So at Netlify, we're just expanding our understanding of who are building these custom applications and what is this new cohort of developers that are out there jamming the web.
Have you seen like a big change like at a cohort level about what people are building now versus customer? I feel like every month there's a whole different shift in what's possible with AI, but I'm just thinking like even last year, do you see people are building different things?
I'm going to tell you, in the last 3 months, it's been incredible to see the adoption of coding assisted platforms. And I won't even call them no code because they're sitting there running lines of code, even if the end user has, I don't know what that's doing, just looks like I'm in the matrix. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I see this just rapid iteration happening. We started from back in the day where you had a whole bunch of people doing everything to get local environments in a place where you could share and preview work. It's like I always said, the best place to test software is on the internet. And like we're seeing it happen live right now. People are vibe coding, as obnoxious as some people may roll their eyes at that word. It's true. It's happening. I spend my afternoons vibe coding, and it's that allowance of just creating and then coming back and refining, but doing it in a production mindset. And AI has blocked that because we spend a lot of time setting environmental variables and other kind of developer centric stuff that a lot of people that are creatives simply don't want to do. They don't need it. They just want to get it out.
I think this vibe deal is coming for every second word. So there's definitely like vibe marketing. I sure that there's sure going to be vibe startups.
It's here. The vibe, I know the vibe is here. You can embrace the vibe or let the vibe go over I don't know. Man, it's gonna. That's a friendly way to think of it, but it is. It's really the same thing that we've been doing for a long time. It's time to market, man. None of that's changed. It's just been accelerated. And I think that there's this chasm on these embracing it because smaller, more mid-market have the ability to just make swifter decisions because they don't have tons of technical debt. And then because of procurement cycle security in larger enterprises, they want to adopt it because they know time to market is critical, but
Yeah.
there's this reluctancy. So I think again, having the ability to take out pieces that you need so that you can get that out there is what more
Mhm.
people will be gravitating towards while everybody catches. Legality and security always lag on new tech. And so if you are in a vertical that is under any kind of compliance, you're going to be like,
Because everything is insecure and illegal.
everything is insecure and illegal. And I just keep telling people, I'm like, there's no difference. I said, at the end of the day, it's data traversing time and space, and it's going to land somewhere, and you're going to have lints and filters and release gates. And then you're going to have the other side of it too, bot protection, WAF, and other. And we're going to have to continue to, I think the bigger challenge in all of this, as you think through a growth mindset and, just growth on your business, is how you distinguish that user traffic when it looks so natural. That's the one that I'm like,
You mean versus AI bot traffic?
is it an agent or is it Jean Michael or is it your MCP that's working on your behalf to interconnect you and play a part of it? I think that, but then again, you have to ask, does it really matter if I'm going to go pay my bot me out there to do my bidding? I don't know. Yes and no. So interesting times, man.
Let's see if they get a personhood. Then we're in trouble. They can do that. That's a whole nother.
Another podcast.
I'm sure this will be out of date by the time, like by tomorrow. But in May 2025, what's your view of no code? I know from as like a business owner, I love that. Man, it's so much easier to automate huge workflows with different tools. But you, at some point, something difficult will occur, and you will need a programmer, or you have this sprawling metropolis of lines and little diary boxes trying to show you what's going on and managing suddenly you want all the regular developer tools. Like how do we? Where's version control for my sprawling lines of clickies in my no code solution? How do you feel like it works now?
I think that the prompt will have to be version controlled like the code. Right? We're going to have this ability to go and see what the heck you ask these models. And I was having this conversation with some other technologists, and they're like, it's going to have to happen. But because the models are indiscriminate, like it's always changing. I think that there's going to be a continuation of stewardship on the last mile before it goes, because humans are control freaks. And so I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. And then in that first mile where you're going to start seeing systems be built off specs instead of this indeterminate LLM that gets to do whatever, you still want some of that. But I think inference will start to get larger. And it's not going to be just a whack and replace. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of this stuff is still in its awkward teenage years. It's making decisions that I think back, maybe shaving my head at 15 wasn't a great idea, but it was at the same time. It was at that time. And now I look back and I'm like, I never do that. And it's going to have that moment because we humans are the ones behind the keyboards infecting and influencing those algorithms. And so I think there's going to be a lot of space, and depending upon what you're building, you're going to find the right spaces and places to take out those chores. And I do believe a lot of it's going to be chore based right now, where it's something that AI is very good at. It's like, setting up Terraform server over and over and over and over again.
I got you.
Not like that. We're going to be trusting that. But I don't think that eventually you have to have a belief that so many people around the world are going to continue to participate, and they don't even know it. Like you don't even know when you're participating. And this is why it's incredibly important to continue to have open web, because if we go and just put that in like the 2 or 3 or 4 foundational models, we're building up again those unintentional kind of blocks on what humans are capable of, what this technology is capable of. And so I think it's going to be an interesting time, but there's no one answer to that right now. It's going to be solving the problems, getting your team comfortable, and really understanding like the output of it. Because again, all that matters is results. And so I think that last mile is going to become more important than security, human. I don't think you're going to go to a programmer. You may go to the one really senior programmer, and you're going to have a bunch of like new programmers that are utilizing no code situations. But I think again, that's where we're going to start seeing some of the compliance be a little bit tight, the creation and then the pre-production, but the in-between.
So this is something that's always been true in software, that because of the rate of software, there's almost like by percentage wise, there's not enough senior anybody's at any level. There's always like the need is growing faster than the supply. And this is like it hasn't gotten any better. Now we have this. How do you see the no code tools and vibe coding and LLMs? How do you see that affecting this massive demand for software automation versus expertise gap?
I think that's the challenge we have to figure out. I think the gap is going to widen because I'll call them like the power users that are vibe coding are like me and the other old timers that are like, oh man, heck yeah. But we know how to ask it the questions because we're talking to it like a junior developer. It's almost like I'm mentoring the LLM to be like, that was cute. Maybe think of doing it this way. And I think that comes fully just years of experience of foundation in computer science, understanding still protocols, how the internet works, how applications submit and transmit. Because again, a lot of it has been studied and built off open source software. And depending upon where the models have been intersected with where people are creating, it's going to form strong opinions. And if we continue to if you think about it on these no code platforms, if you have somebody that's really driving it and maybe not as technically deep as somebody that has been doing it for a long time, they're training the algorithm very nascently. It's going to be very shallow. And so I think it's really important to continue to educate, mentor, and teach those concepts, honestly, until the algorithms catch up. And then, but here's my wakeless nights and I'm thinking about stuff that I shouldn't is know that a lot of builders and engineers and scientists and researchers, we just love science, math, and tech. And that doesn't mean that these experiences have to be that complex. Stuff should be simpler. And I think it's going to be very interesting to understand like what really matters when you think about how crazy the architecture could be if we left it unwieldy, or how simple it's going to be. Like I'm sitting here and I'm watching, I'm like, is it going to get easier because of no code? Are we going to determine, hey, maybe all of that didn't help the greater good and just added complexity to the system? If that old meme or cartoon, depending on how old you are, of asking an engineer to do a tire swing and it's a crazy mess all over the tree. It's like a Rube Goldberg machine when all you needed was a piece of rope.
That's never going away if people are involved. As somebody who's managed engineers, both know.
Oh, you're going to over engineer shit. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see where we go. And I think that there's a responsibility as you bring on these developers that are working in a new world that is very much prompt based to put that points of education because they're curious. I think creative people are very curious people. And that's where you see advancements happen. I'll look back to even just like MySpace when social media started coming and suddenly you had this opportunity to go customize your MySpace. Shoot, everybody was learning HTML. Everybody was learning HTML. You didn't have to do that way. At first, you were learning HTML, and then MySpace editors came. This is just a step in that evolution. And I think curious people will always look under the hood. But then it's again, as we advance so rapidly, asking that question over and over, which you should. Does it matter? What matters? Just because it's technically depth and interesting, does it matter? And who are you and what are you trying to unlock? Because people have different advantages. Some people don't have the privilege to go to go to college, don't have the luxury of having stable internet, but they have the next big idea that you and me can benefit as humans. So like, I'm not a gatekeeper. Some developers are gatekeepers.
When we think about products as a like technologist, we love like how it worked and that it's like beautifully crafted on the inside. And I'm just thinking my grandpa, he would always like try to make it look good where you couldn't, when he's doing woodworking and whatnot. Actual end user does not care. They don't care at all. And it's going to be interesting to see like how far can you take a horribly giantly tech debt laden startup idea and monetize it? Like how far, like how far, because I think as long as it works, especially in business context where it's like, if we got the job done, great. We might, it's going to be a whole different game in terms of what it takes to build a company.
I think so too. You're going to see startups of one. You're going to see fully fledged end-to-end MVP and beyond startups driven and built by one person, companies built by one person. Now, does that happen today? Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff with 1-2 founder, and you got like a really great product-minded person and somebody that just can do a fully fledged application. But now, if you just enable that entrepreneur creative, that person that's solving the problem, you're going to see a bunch. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that right now. At Netlify, we have this unique perch where we had integrations with Windsurf, Bolt, Lovable, same XYZ. That's a cool one. I don't know if that one basically clones websites and then you can rewrite them. I'm sure the big ones don't. You got to try that one. If you want to make your own Netflix, you can. Watch the clock, y'all. I am not a lawyer. I am not an accountant. Enter at your own risk. Buy at your own risk. But I think that it's going to be quite the disruption in business. I think that it's going to be actually harder to understand the value when you get the shiny objects produced so quickly. And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to say what is actually working. And at the end of the day, people are going to start to expect that immediate results when you're going and forming businesses and you're pitching and moving them along.
I'm curious about this. Do you see this now? Do you see that more enterprise customers are expecting like more solution side things faster because everyone knows it's getting easier? And I have this feeling that people are going to demand more customizations because they know they can now. Are you seeing that?
Think that there is a threat to having no code solutions that are too rigid because they know that like to your point, they know that there's these tools that can advance it with the ability to have any customization. And if you can give that same no code general experience, but also open it up unbounded, oh my goodness gracious, of course I see that happen. The challenge is breaking out of those, I would say the rituals and ceremonies that come with business and workflows that humans crave pattern. And so when you're an enterprise and you're working at a 2,000 plus company, you've built in systems for the humans because the humans need the systems. And the hardest to change is our workflows. And I think that there's this haunting business gorilla on you all the time saying, get it out faster, beat the competition, do it, get your margins right. Customer acquisition should be cheaper. Customer value should be more. And so you're sitting there bouncing it. And I think that a lot of firms that maybe didn't go down that no code platform route because they're concerned about the inflexibility about the customization for their brand are now going, wait a minute, I can get something that simple with maybe less people or more people at a different skill level, and I can go time to market quick. I feel like they're going to start taking out these applications. We see this happening on the big FANG companies' lips, as Satya Nadella says, and maybe the SaaS is dead. And, I see Salesforce, bidding like, we're going agent based. And I was like, of course you are, right?
Yeah.
Because Salesforce was built on modules and custom mobility through a unified platform. All you really wanted was that data, and you bought that customization to get it bubbled up in through your stages and your pipeline so that you can understand. Once you have the ability to just go to a prompt and be like, I want to know about this customer, that's how people are going to ask about it.
Oh, yeah. Especially Salesforce. They're a great company. But as a previous Salesforce user, when you want to change something, you want to set up a new department with that, you're always going to need another consultancy to set it up
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
you can't just I just want to know what's my revenue per sales. I can't, you got to connect 8 things. And so that would be lovely. I would love to just be able to say, oh, please integrate these pieces. Give me the dashboard.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I think also too, as you hear a lot in my circles about new protocols coming out to link AI systems together, MCP, not MTV, y'all. I was like, what? MTV is getting into the software. No, MCP. And there are going to be more applications that have administrative controls that are built, and you're going to have model to model. And then when you ask that question, it's going to be able to give you a really rich picture, and somebody's going to bridge that gap. And it will be like looking at your Notion, your Salesforce, your Ring, your Gong, whatever tool
I was
set.
just thinking, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, Hal, or whatever, from
Vitally, there's so many, and it's going to pull together not only that with the user data, and you're going to say, especially on the customer success side, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible, the questions that you're going to ask and answer. And I think that we're also going to see the output of that being just like the cloud native, just like other of these things that come together, alliances, and not saying, okay, we got to have to build some standards, because if we want our businesses to continue to flourish in the age of AI, then we have to find a way to participate with our data, because now the only thing that matters is
For sure. Yeah. Love it. This has been fantastic, fun conversation. And I'm wondering, like, as we come into like Q2 of 2025, what advice would you give to other CTOs? What's the top thing they need to
the top thing they need to know is AI is taking your job. No, I'm joking. Come on now. Maybe. No, the top thing they need to know is prepare your team for this. Find opportunities to get people comfortable. You're going to have a mixed bag of cynics and early adopters, and it's going to be uncomfortable for everybody because the rate of iterations happens so quickly. And, there's a doom scroll of text saying that this is going to impact their livelihood, chief technologists, or even just leaders. It doesn't matter where you sit, to go and really find your company's understanding of it, have your conviction about it, what's happening, and be an active participant. But I really think it's on us to really understand people's fears behind it, because it's scary out there, and we've already had a front row seat to all of this, and now they're getting to participate, and it's like, how does it do it? And I think it's exciting, also threatening to a lot of people. So just get your team ready, find ways to lower that fear and to also make them comfortable. And I always say, start with your business tools. Like, nobody likes, I don't know about you, but I go through my Zoom recordings, I look at the AI summary, and then I even put that in AI and say, okay, tell me the TLDR. Because I used to just,
AI? I do that too.
so I think if you take the little grinding things out on the to-do list that you can just optimize, people will see value, and then you're going to unlock the potential of it within what you can build, what you can create, and how people feel comfortable. Because at the end of the day, it's a human assist. It's not here to replace humans. It's here to expand the ability for us to do great things. And as long as we continue to unlock what makes us amazing, us not having any kind of indiscriminate boundaries, we can do whatever we want, then we always have a special perch on this.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you so